Good evening, everyone. So, in the last class, we did yesterday about sampling, steps of research, hypothesis, its testing, and the two types of error that are committed, along with thesis and article writing, and what are the format and the style of referencing. In our today's class, we will study about application of ICT in research. What are the various different tools with regards to research and how do we use them at various stages of the research. Next is statistical analysis tool. And then we will have the main topic that is research ethics, the last topic, and some PYQ questions today. So now let us start with, just give me a minute. Okay. So in today's class, first we are starting with statistical tools. So yesterday we did what is hypothesis and what is testing of hypothesis and the error committed. Today we will see what are the tools through which this hypothesis has been tested. Okay, and the error comes post that first we use the tools, but that was not taken yesterday specifically. Reason being is, otherwise it would have been very confusing. So as we have studied yesterday that we have hypothesis and that are of two types, type null and alternate. We always test this null hypothesis, and that test is being done using some statistical test, okay, which are called as parametric test or non-parametric test. Under parametric test you have this four very important tests, that is Z test, T test, F test, and ANOVA. And under the non-parametric test we have the child test, U test, and H test, and various others. But most of the questions that are asked, we will be discussing upon those tests. Okay. So parametric test is a test that is done specially when we have certain population parameter, when we have certain numbers. Okay. And when then we want to conduct a test, we use a parametric test. But when we do not have a population, we don't have a number or a population range, a normal range. So in that cases, we use non-parametric test. Okay. So parametric test is a one that make assumptions about whatever population parameter is there. So population is a keyword to remember a difference between a parametric test and a non-parametric test. So for example, the value of any arithmetic mean will be 80 in an example. The value of 80 about the population can be actually assumed, and the simple data is being collected on that basis. There are certain tests being part of parametric test, that is T test, Z test, ANOVA, and correlation coefficient. Main examples. Now, all of this test going and doing in detail will require a lot of time, but at least we should know when we actually do our PhD, we require all this parametric test and all these softwares at that time to do that. But at least we should know which test falls under which category, because PYQ's questions have asked on the same thing. So the value assumed about the population is called as population parameter, and the value of the statistics obtained from the sample can be taken as an estimate of the population parameter. The value obtained from the sample can be termed as sample statistics when we are going to test our null hypothesis. Likewise, in non-parametric test, there is no such assumption about the population parameter at all. Sorry. Non-parametric tests are totally distribution free, and it can be used for non-normal variables. We can also say that parametric is something where quantity comes in, and non-parametric is where quality comes in. Okay, so like the chi-square test, Wilcoxon sign test, Friedman test. Okay, All these are the most important and well-known tests which are directly questions come from this particular test. Okay, like the Mann-Whiteley test and Spearman rank correlation test are the examples of non-parametric tests. So here is a there are a couple of 3, 4 slides with regards to difference between to clarify your points in more better manner. So in a parametric test is usually mainly used on the interval and a ratio scale data, but a non-parametric, as I told you, it's more about quality. So it can be used on an ordinary and a nominal scale also. Parametric because it deals with population needs a larger sample, non-parametric quality, so it does not deals with population, so small sample is also okay. So in parametric, data should be particularly distribution and data can be transferred to that distribution, but in non-parametric it is not possible. Samples in a parametric should be drawn randomly from the population, but as I told you, in qualitative, the samples are not taken randomly. They are being selected on certain as far as convenience possible or certain judgment that is possible. In parametric, more powerful than non-parametric, obviously because it has data, okay, quantity, and non-parametric is less, I will say, powerful compared to parametric test. So this is another one more difference between, which is just trying to tell you some more additional points like parametric is population, non-parametric is population is unknown in this case. Okay, and it's quantitative study, it's qualitative study. Other things are almost same. Okay, probability sampling and more powerful. And here we take a median in non-parametric test. Okay, and it is less powerful compared to parametric test. This is also a similar image, but it again has some additional points. The point that you can see the sample size. So in a parametric test, whenever we are doing, we require a sample size at least of 30 people. For that matter, if we conduct any small survey, a small article that we want to write in a journal or anything, whatever we are doing, a minimum sample is always expected of at least 30 to 40 people. Okay, without which a sample or a survey or any of the tests that you have conducted will be considered invalid if you do not have a sample of at least 30 to 40 people for any survey that you conduct. If in colleges you have might have seen there is a department called as DLLE or even in NSS when students go for survey, so they have to conduct a survey for at least 30 to 40 people. Okay. So in parametric test, it is easy to interpret everything, whatever data is there, because it is in term of quantity. In non-parametric parametric test, it is in quality, so it is very difficult to interpret, and implementation is difficult in a parametric, and in non-parametric it is easy. And then rest of the points are again more or less the same. Now here you can see, okay, how it is. Uh, Parametric test, it's on assumptions, normality, homogeneity of variance, that is similarity in variance, independent. And non-parametric is data is not normally distributed, very small sample size, nominal data, and presence of outliners. These are the tests. Okay. Now, this is one of the best, I will say, image that can explain you all the tests, and also about one sample and two sample that they are talking. So in parametric test, when they talk about one sample, it includes T test and Z test. In two samples, okay, there are paired, unpaired samples. That way it is being classified. Again, T test and Z test comes for two samples also when we are comparing two different things. In non-parametric test, chi-square test, runs test, KS test, and binomial test comes under one sample. Rest all other comes under two sample test. Okay. We will see in details a little bit about some of these tests which are mostly asked in your examination. So a sample size, as I told you, it should be at least 30. This sample size, the T test and Z test that we are talking is about parametric test. So a sample size, if it is less than 30, okay, it is a small sample, and it is the best example of T test that we use. So in a T test, the sample size will always be less than 30. And if I use the Z test, it will have a sample size always more than 30. So if I have people more than 30 in my survey, then I will be using the Z test. That is the basic difference in both of them. Now, a certain non-parametric test, this the first one, that is chi-square test, that is also denoted with this symbol. Okay, it's a non-parametric statistical method used in research to analyze categorical data by comparing observed frequency to expected frequency under a given hypothesis. So there is an uh, observed frequency, whatever the researcher might have taken, and then there is an expected frequency, and the comparison of both the frequency that has been done is called as uh, chi-square test. And then you have the man-Whitney test. It is a non-parametric test, and it is used to compare two independent groups when data is not normally distributed. Okay, yeah, here group two independent groups are been compared, and in this test, if you can see, okay, here frequencies are compared. Okay, observed frequency and expected frequency. These are certain keywords that will help you to remember the different type of test. And here two independent groups are being compared. Okay, then the test works by ranking all of the data from both the groups together, submitting their ranks for each group, and then determining if one group ranks are significantly higher or lower than the other one. So it's a whole process. Actually, there is a whole team when you do your PhD. You will have to hire that software and the person doing that. You might conduct your research, but there is a statistical team who does this and give it to us. So this allows the researcher to test if there is significant difference between two independent samples, serving as an alternative to the independent samples t-test. Then comes your another test that we call as the Friedman test. Again, it's a non-parametrical test which is used in research to detect differences across three or more related groups. Okay, that was for two. First one was for two variants that we were seeing. Manhattan was for two independent groups. Here it is for three or more related groups. Okay. Then sorry, to detect difference across three or more related groups, repeated measures or matched samples when the dependent variable is ordinary or continuous but not normally distributed. This is an alternative for ANOVA. ANOVA is also one of very famous tests. Then comes your Spearman rank correlation test, again a non-parametric test. Okay, uh, it is used in research to determine the strength and the direction of a monoclinic relationship between two ranked variable, whatever the variable might be taken by the researcher. Okay, so to have certain kind of seeing their strength and direction in that variables. It does not assume a linear relationship, that is a straight relationship, or that the data is normally distributed, making it suitable for ordinal data or data without outliers. So these are certain tests and these are certain keywords that you will have to remember. The best I will say, just remember this much. It will help a lot while solving questions also. Okay. So which test comes under which para? Is it parametric or non-parametric? And all of these tests are for hypothesis testing. Once we conduct this test, post that, if it goes right or wrong, if it goes right, then altogether it's okay. But if it goes wrong, then you get type 1 or type 2 error. Clear so far? Okay. Now we will be going to application of ICT in research. So when we do our research, gone are those days when we used to sit in libraries and look for research papers, thesis, sources, and then do our PhD and all. Now we have everything online. Earlier we used to compile everything, and we have to look so many things. But now ICT, that is information and technology, has helped a lot, and it has made research, I will say, quite very easy. On a lighter note, nowadays, so we also have softwares which can write, the whole of the research papers also. But that is not what we have to do, because it turns into plagiarism. But yes, IT has helped a lot. So yesterday we did about the steps of research. So according to the steps of research, we have ICT that has been divided. The various kind of tools that we have for doing the research, like the pre-data analysis that we do according to the step of research, that is during the time of after having your own problem, creating that problem that you want to work on as a research, evaluating the literature. Okay. So reviewing the literature, during doing the review of literature, there are certain softwares which help you a lot to find out data and check out. So now in today's day, you can just look and you will come to know, okay, on this research has been done. So you won't waste your time for the same thing. Okay. So the pre-data analysis here includes research tools, literature research tools such as suggested platforms like Shodhganga. I hope Shodhganga you might have studied and you know what is Shodhganga, right? Perfect. So Shodhganga, Google Scholar, ResearchGate, Academia, and JSTOR. Here you will find a lot of research paper, whatever it has been conducted. Shodhganga is one of the best initiatives of Government of India. Okay, it has made really research very easy for anybody who is doing, and we can find a lot of resources and literature review on this particular platform. So another ICT tools that we use during literature trackings are tools listed for managing citations and reference are EndNote, Mendeley, Zotera, and EasyPIB. These tools again are very helpful. If you do certain kind of research, please use these tools. It will be making your work easy. And then pre-data analysis when we have not yet collected the data. Okay. Once we collect the data and then we use various tools, after having all those 300, 400 sample surveys pre that when we collect data we use this softwares like Google Form, one of the very basic thing. Apart from that, we have Microsoft Form, Survey Monkey, Zoho Forms, Typeform, and this is Qualtrics, a very high performing data collection tool which is rarely used. This was about pre-data analysis. Then comes your data analysis. Once you have collected the data from your sample size, let's say from 300, 400 people, now you will analyze. You need a tool. One of the very famous tool that is used in social sciences, SPSS, that is a software for social science. Okay, so using SPSS tool, it cost you, you will have to give all your data to the statistical and they will analyze this data. At times it costs you 15, 20,000 also for analyzing this data. So quantitative analysis tools were very famous is SPSS for social science, then MET LAM, that is Max Lab Work. Okay, then you have SS, that is another software. Then you have GraphPad, Microsoft Excel, all of them listed for quantitative data analysis. Then you have qualitative analysis tools like Niboha, Atlas, .ti, Max, QADA, and then Transana mentioned for qualitative analysis. These tools they might ask you, and they might ask you, is it qualitative, is it quantitative, or how it is like that way. Okay. So this is during post you have collected your data and everything. These are the ICT tools that is helping you in your research. Post that, once you have collected your data and everything, then comes your referencing and bibliography, which we studied yesterday, that APA, MLA, and Chicago style of referencing. How do you do that? And about plagiarism. So, post in your steps of research, in your last steps when you are writing your report, that time you will need all these tools. Okay, that is for referencing and bibliography. Yesterday only I told you there are tools which can directly generate your AP and MLA type of referencing, which includes EndNote, Zotera, and Mendeley. Okay. For article and thesis or for social networking sites of researcher, this is another name through which they ask you question. That social networking site for researchers, what are tools for the same? That is Academia and ResearchGate. Then for plagiarism, I hope most of you might know about Grammarly, okay, Urkund. Most of the colleges do have Urkund and Grammarly at least, okay, or Totin, and these three softwares for plagiarism check, article checker, then duplicate checker, Qtex, and plagiarismcheck.org, and others. Next, you have general manuscript submission. For them, you have Elsewhere, Willy, and Sage Publication. These are the ICT tools or softwares, I will say, that are used once your data has been analyzed. Now you want to do referencing and submitting and checking plagiarism. Please take a screenshot of the same. Okay, apart from this, there are some more ICT tools. I will just go back to another PDF. I will show it to you. Okay, so application of ICT tools in research here. We can see many research studies that you see statistical tools. They are talking about SPSS, okay, which we discussed recently. Then they talk about some other tools over here, which includes your Potero Pro, Javelin Plus, Multiplan, VC Scale, Super Calc. Okay, VC Calc, sorry, Super Calc and Plan Perfect. Another statistical tool that they talk about is SAS. We discussed just now. S plus, Lizrel, eViews, etc. Word processors are WordStar, WordPerfect, Word, and then there is Akhar that is used for Gujarati language, and ME Pro. For presentation, we have obviously Microsoft PowerPoint, Lotus Freelance, Graphics, Oral Presentations, Apple Keynote, and other. For database management, we have these softwares which help us to maintain a lot of data that is already there in our research. Okay, that are Microsoft Access, Paradox, DBase or DBase 3 Plus, Foxbase, Fox Pro Visual, Fox Pro FileMaker Pro. All of this is for maintaining our data. The commercial database servers that supports multi-users are Oracle, MS SQL Server, Skybase, Ingress, Informix, DBU, UDM, IBM, by IBM, then Unify Integral, and etc. And these are the database management software. Apart from that, the browsers that we can use, okay, Microsoft Internet Explorer, Firefox, Opera, and everything that we know. Some search tools, okay, through internet which help us is Google, Yahoo, Web Crawler, Excite, Altvista, and other. How do we manage our online data and documentation? Some online uh, cloud documents that we have, that is Dropbox, Google Drive, Google Doc, MS SkyDrive, Microsoft, the paid version. Then online, we have the Skype and Google Hangouts, online survey, questionnaires, and other. And some other research tools like Zotero, Evernote. All these tools are helping us to maintain our data, because now everything that we do is through the ICT technology that we are doing our research. So these are certain most important tools that will help us for doing our research. And on basis of this, questions are also being asked. Apart from this, now coming back to this, some other tools that are very helpful when I talk about ICT is the Shodh Gangotri, Shodh Ganga, and Shodh Shuddhi. The only reason for repeating it here, you might have studied it in teaching aptitude also, but it is associated with teaching, sorry, research aptitude. That is why, again, repeating it. Okay, so Shodh Gangotri, as we know that the Ganga originates from Gangotri. So the simplest way of remembering it is in Gangotri we have, in Shodh Gangotri we have a repository of all kind of synopses that are there. Synopsis or the research proposal, which by yesterday in the end we discussed. Okay, so synopsis, when we talk is uh, after research proposal, you submit your synopsis that has been given, and on basis of that synopsis, your further research has been done if it is accepted in a positive manner. Okay, so all those synopses that are accepted, okay, all those research proposals that are accepted, you will find all of those in Shodh Gangotri, and then once your final everything has been done, your thesis has been done and submitted, you submit your thesis on Shodh Ganga. Here you will find all kind of thesis and dissertations that is there done by master students. Uh, and it has been mentioned by Inflibit Center. Inflibit Center is again a, I will say, a digital technology, ICT technology helping us in research. That is information. INF stands for information, LIB stands for library, and NET stands for network, headquarters being in Gujarat. Okay, so from Shodh Gangotri comes the Shodh Ganga. So Shodh Gangotri will always have the smallest thing, that is proposals and synopsis. Ganga will have the thesis, your main paper. Then Shodh Shuddhi is again web, platform through where it provides you for plagiarism detection software and training to all universities, because as we know, plagiarism is one of the most important thing in today's date. Whatever we do, uh, how much you do, that doesn't matter, but how nicely you do and how pure you do, that matters a lot. And that is what Shodh Ganga, Shodh Shuddhi talks about. Okay, this was about your different ICT softwares and statistical tools that are being used. Now we will move to the most important component, which might sound very simple, or I will say very easy topic, but in the end of whatever we do, this is the most important topic, that is research ethics. Okay. On basis of this topic also, they have asked a lot of questions that we will be seeing today. So research ethics is ethics is something that we believe morally should be right. Something can be legally wrong but ethically right, and something can be legally right but morally wrong. So legality and ethics go sometimes a little different, sometimes, not always. Okay, so ethics is something beyond about being legal and illegal, but being morally right. So ethics are the principles and the guidelines that help us uphold the things as we value, things we value. Ethics and law differ, have different aspects. Although laws of the land are intended to be based on certain ethics, all that is for sure. But almost all the societies will have legal rules to govern certain behavior. But even after having that, ethical norms tend to be broader or more informal than the normal laws. Okay, sorry. So the ethics aim to achieve two fundamental objects, that is telling us how we ought to act in a given situation and provide strong reasons for doing that. And the same goes here for research also. So ethics always emerge from a conflict between all our values and everything. Sometimes we might think it's okay, but it is not okay to do certain activities of research which might not be just and fair in practicality. So in research, this conflict takes different forms as participants' concern for privacy versus some justification for manipulation many a times, and openness and replication versus confidentiality, present loss versus future benefits, and so on. So certain these are just the things that why we should have research ethics. I will directly go to the main point of what are the desired research ethics system that we should follow. So some desired elements to ensure ethics in research includes honesty in reporting data, results, methods, procedures, and publication status. So, for example, we are conducting a survey, and let's say we have to do a survey on status of women. We are doing, but we are not getting women of a lower income group, or sometimes maybe women from lower income group are not ready to answer to the question. So, because nobody is checking, you have the liberty, and sometimes you manipulate and fill certain data forms on our own. Mostly when we give it to students, they sometimes do that. So the reporting of data is only wrong because we have not taken it from the right person. We are self-filling it. So that should not be the situation. So there should be honesty in reporting the data, the results, methods, and the procedures, and publication status. Second is objectivity to avoid biasness in experimental design, data analysis, sorry, interpretation, and peer review. So we should always should avoid any kind of biasness. We should have minimum intervention if we are using experimental type of research, interfering with the variables at all. And any there should be no kind of any manipulation with the data analysis. That is why we have very clear softwares for doing that. And even in the interpretation, many a times, if you have ever seen certain papers or certain uh, discussions on some papers, you might have seen the analysis might say something, but the interpretation, the way the person writes, is written in this altogether a different manner. So it has no relation with the analysis that has been made. So that biasness should not come. So I can say the same topic in so many ways, I can manipulate it, but that should not be done in a research. That is what research ethics talks about. And even the peer review. Okay, peer review is actually having your paper reviewed by like-minded people who are expert in it. So they can tell you suggestions what is right and wrong in your papers, and accordingly to that suggestion should be incorporated in your papers. Next, we have integrity, acting with sincerity and striving for consistency of thought and action. So, being very honest with our papers, and then carefulness to avoid careless errors and negligence and proper documentation of all aspects. So, all the software that we saw just now, this all things are very required or are very helpful and useful because we have a lot of data and we do not want to lose any of those things. We need to be careful and not make any careless mistakes, like not giving due credit to somebody. We have so many softwares for giving referencing and all doing that. So we should not miss at any given point a single reference that is required to be given to any person through which we have referred any data. So such kind of careless error should not be done. That is what research ethics talks about. Then openness in sharing data, results, idea, tools, and resources, and openness to criticism and new ideas. This is very important. We should be ready to accept that sometimes, yes, our research might be right, our research might be wrong, our research might have scope for more better things. So whenever we go for PhD interviews, and also many a times the same proposal might get rejected in some of the I will say your PhD interviews, and then you should be open to criticism. You should intake those ideas. That is what research ethics is talking about, and then add those ideas, and probably in the next round you will be able to perform it better. Like that way. Then comes your respect for intellectual property rights, such as patents, copyrights, and other forms of intellectual property. So whatever data we are taking, anybody's paper or anybody's ideas or whatever, definitely it is their intellectual property right, and we should not take credit for the same. We should give due credit to all of them, respect all of them, and we should accept that we have taken their references because we cannot do everything on our own. So it is 100% possible that we will be taking references, and we should respect them equally. Confidentiality in context of communications, personal records, and privacy issue, very important. I will give you an example. One of my known person had did a PhD in surrogacy laws, and that lady actually went taking interviews for surrogates women. So this kind of topic, if you are taking, you will have to maintain that confidentiality, their personal details of that participants who participated. Okay, so maintaining that confidentiality of those persons till the time they are alive, or maybe till the time they don't want their next generations also to know. That all depends upon the researcher. The researcher cannot leak such data because it is a privacy issue in that case. Okay. So it's very, very confidential, and a researcher in such kind of research will have to be very careful with the confidentiality and the kind of the communication is being done and the privacy issue that comes, because those people will never want their families, or let's say their areas or anybody to know such things. So such things can be should be taken very due care of. Next, we have responsible publication with the aim to serve the society, avoid wasteful and duplicative publication are very important. We should be very careful in which paper we are publishing. Was it, what is it, its impact factor, how good it is a UGC paper or it's a non-UGC paper. We should be ourselves responsible for it. It is expected in this research ethics while we are doing that. And we should also avoid duplicative publication, like our one research paper, if it is we have sent it for somewhere as publication, or we have just presented it but we have not published, we are not allowed to even republish or re manipulate that paper and represent it to at some other conference. Even that is not allowed. Own paper if even if we are taking reference from our own past paper, we will have to give due credit to ourselves also. So that duplicative thing should not be there done. It's wasteful, and for that reason, Shodhganga and Shodh Gangotri kind of platforms have emerged. Okay, so that we do not waste our time, or we do not do any careless activity with regards to any documentation. Then is responsibly mentoring in terms of guiding research students under us. Okay. So we should guide them with all those things. So tomorrow students should not tell that the professor has not told me what are the requirements, what are this thing. If for tomorrow students is doing and he is having plagiarism and he's facing penalty, so it will also be on the person who has guided him. Okay, so we should be very careful with regards to it. Respect for the colleagues. Okay, with regards to their research papers, then so it's a social responsibility means to serve the society and different stakeholders with our research, not just for the sake of writing. We should write, and I have seen many people nowadays doing that just for the sake of writing. They write anything, just they want their papers to be published under their name. Within 2 years they have 15, 20 papers to be published, which is next to impossible within 2 to 3 years. Okay, within a year, max to max, you can publish two papers, which ideally makes sense. Okay, more than that is not possible, because research is something which takes time. Okay, but within a span of 3 months, people publish four papers. So those things should not be there. Your research should have validity. It should have all the actual research that is done on the ground level. Okay, and then non-discrimination against colleagues or student on the basis of their sex, race, or factors, all those things. That is a research ethic that we need to maintain. Enhancing competency for own professional advancement and lifelong learning, and taking steps to promote competency in science as a whole. Ensuring legality in the whole process of whatever we are doing, because yesterday, as we studied, anything that goes wrong, it will come under plagiarism, it will come under so many things, and then accordingly penalties are being also imposed. And not in social science, but in science subjects like science, where we actually do experiments on animals, we do experiments on human being. A lot of care has to be taken with regards to these experimental designs and everything that has been prepared. So now, who all are the main stakeholders in this research is basically, there are three main stakeholders in this process, namely the participants or the subjects, okay, who give their willingness on whom we conduct a research, the researcher himself, and the funding organization. There are certain issues, examples that are given relating to participants and other funding organization that will be seeing. Uh, I don't know how many of you must be knowing, but in 1930s, during the time of Hitler, there is still this the whole camp that is there underground in Germany. There are a lot of experiments are being done on human beings, a lot of psychological and doctoral, scientific experiments are being done on human beings. And there is a book and everything in which all of this data has been written. It is very bad. One of those experiments that has been talked here about, that a medical experiment was taken by Nazi doctors in Germany concentration camp. in 1930. So Nazi doctors in that German concentration camps killed twin Gispi teenagers while conducting experiment in order to determine why some of them had differently colored eyes. So this is highly against the research ethics also. It is highly against the law also. But there are many such research conducted worldwide. Mostly the scientific researchers like this or psychological researches where human beings have been involved, and while conducting research people have died or they have been killed. So that is against which is an ethical issue in a research. Then experiments on animals, many a times you might have seen that why people complain that you should not do research on animals, including the rats and everything, because one of the reason is at end of the day they also have a life, but they cannot speak, so you cannot do that, and all those things that goes on. Then ethical issues on organ transplant, sterilization, and so on, and further ethical issues that go on. So now before the thing that the research ethics talks is that it should not cause any physical injury, psychological distress, or emotional harm to the participant, or the loss of the self-esteem, being persuaded to conduct moral reprehensible acts, and hampering one's physical, intellectual, and emotional development just for the sake of research. No doubt, research is very important to be conducted so that new things come up every time, but that should not be in the cost of these things, right? Then certain things that we will have to maintain at every step while doing our research is how we collect the information. Okay, many a times it has been seen, it has been observed. People give bribe people to fill the research forms or be a part or participant of a certain research. So even that is ethically wrong. Okay, so collecting information, the researcher before a researcher actually collects information, his request for information may put pressure or create anxiety on the respondent, because now the respondent knows that I am going to be observed, my every activity is going to be observed. A lot of privacy in the name sake of a research has been taken away by the people when we ask them personal questions like their age, their income, their family life, their family members. So that things are certain things that are very personal to the people, and they might not feel like sharing, and that creates a lot of anxiety on the respondent, and which is not ethically correct. However, as I told you, without research, there will be no intellectual process which is required. So, a lot of mutual understanding should be done. So, the best way of conducting a research or collecting data is first, it is always advised that you first build relationship with those people. Once they are okay with it, then only they will be able to give share information to you. Okay. Then seeking consents of the participants. Informed consents refers to individual willingness to participate. Individuals who provide informed consent have been made aware of the design and the procedures with enough data to exercise a rational decision to participate. Then providing incentives, like most people do not participate in a study because of the incentives, but they are motivated because of the importance sometimes. And many times the people purposely give incentives so that people participate. Then seeking sensitive information, okay, that is with regards to your privacy, age, income, marital status, which people will not be really okay to share it. Then a possibility of causing harm to the participant. Um, so when we collect data from the respondent or involved in when subjects as an experiment, we need to be very careful with their involvement is likely to harm them in any way. Okay, any kind of medicines, drugs, or chemicals that we are using, or any kind of discomfort or anxiety that we are giving. I'm very sure you might have seen certain social experiments that are done, and the ads of that are posted on Instagrams and YouTube also, whether you after that experiment or a social experiment that has been done, people realize, oh, um, I'm not that perfect or that way. So it should not create any kind of discomfort in those people. That is a responsible ethical behavior. And then maintaining confidentiality, very, very important. Okay. In case of researcher, he has to identify the respondent and needs to uh, be sought to more than one sharing information and keep it safe till the time. it has been asked by the participant. Now, ethical issues relating to the researcher himself. Okay, this was with regard to the participants. Now, what ethical issues does the researcher himself do is in avoiding biasness. Okay, we all have personal opinions, but that should not be a part of our research, and we should not underrepresent or overrepresent any of them just to get a desired answer that we want. Okay, then we have provisions or deprivation of a treatment. This is especially true in case of medical research when we talk about. It is ethical to provide study population with an intervention or a treatment that is experimental kind of design. When I talk about a medical or a scientific research, but thus, it imposes some ethical dilemma like the consent, the risk that is there, and the frank discussion that can help to solve these ethical issues. Next problem that a researcher conducts, which is ethically sometimes wrong, that is using inappropriate research methodology. So we have to be very clear with what kind of methodology we are going to be using it. If we use a wrong methodology, the whole of research will become wrong and we will get the wrong answers and calculations and everything. And then incorrect reporting. This can be done to advance the interest of the researcher. Sometimes we see something, but we in a observational study when we observe certain thing. Okay, so that is very subjective. So the researcher might see something. Sometimes when researcher is part of that observation group, they might feel it not from the lens it is actually meant, but from another lens, and then it creates a problem. And the reporting is done in a wrong way. So let's say. There is some research going on a school students, and now researcher is part of those school students group, and he sees a change in observing the behavior, but then now researcher being personally part of it now knows why the child behaved, because the child has certain problems at home, this that. Now the researcher is personally connected to the child, and then the reporting becomes wrong because the clear fact reporting is not coming out. Okay, now personal lives are attached, so the reporting gets manipulated. Inappropriate use of the information. Sometimes it is possible to harm individual in the process of achieving benefits for the organization. For example, an example will be study to help in the formulation of a policy by the organization. The new policy may not serve in the interest of certain individuals, but still it may be good for the organization. Then it goes like that way. So again, that is wrong as per ethically. Okay. Certain other problem that we have is fabricating behavior, creation of superior data, that is a false data by the researcher. They are recording and drawing inferences. Next is falsification, manipulates the research material, equipment, process, change or omit data. So for example, I have conducted a Google form and I have received 50 response. A couple of those responses are very harsh, very against the thing that I want. So what I will do, I will just click on a button, delete. Okay, Google Form pay. I delete that response. Nobody knows when I did or what I did. I deleted that response, and I purposely initially only I deleted it, and then whatever I wanted, I selected all those things. And if I have less, I will ask for more such responses. And I'm purposely falsifying data because omitting such data because I want it in that particular manner. Another problem is plagiarism that we already discussed yesterday. Now, certain types of plagiarism, that is intercorporal plagiarism, a case of plagiarism where one student has copied from another in the same submission is known as intercorporal plagiarism. External corporal plagiarism, that is copying from books, journal, article. I think all of you might have observed this in your life when sometimes students copy the whole of assignment, just change their name and bring it to the class. That is intracorporal, and extracorporal is sometimes students copy it all from chat GPT, web pages. They sometimes don't even remove the web page link. It's blue and all those things and they submit. So that is also wrong. Okay. That is why we today now ask either for handwritten assignments or we take assignment along with plagiarism report as well. And auto plagiarism, as I told you right now, is citing own's work without any acknowledgement. So that is also again wrong. You cannot even cite your own work without acknowledgement. Clear so far? Okay. Then comes multiple authorship. This can be many improper authorities or authorship. Okay, improper assignments of credit, such as excluding other authors. Yesterday I told you, if there are 10 authors, you can just write one person's name and ETAL, that means all others. But then we are not including all 10 authors because we might not like somebody, or there might be any reason if we know them personally or whatever it is. So excluding some authors, including some authors, okay, who have not made any contribution but still, and all those things. So this kind of multiple authorship is again a problem that is been done, not giving due credit to the people. Another is peer review. It is a process in which an author submits a written manuscript or an article to a journal for publication. The journal editor distributes the article to experts or reviewer to check whatever it has been written. As I told you, the more like-minded and people in hierarchy who have more experience review this journals and articles that have been published. The peer review process seldom proceeds in a straight line. The entire process may involve several rounds of communication between the editor, reviewer, and the original author who has written it. Okay. Before an article is ready for publication, the two most important ethics in this process are maintaining confidentiality. For example, there is always a mediator. Like I had also written one article once during my initial days of writing. So it went for a peer review. So there was this body through which it went, and there was a reviewer who gave certain reviews. So the reviewer name was not told to us, okay, who had given certain suggestions. So maintaining that confidentiality, and it just came on mail that these are the certain changes that is required. Do it, and then your paper is good to go. So maintaining that confidentiality and the protection of your intellectual property right. Also, when it goes for review, it is very important that the paper does not get leaked and somebody else copy paste it, and because the paper is has not yet been published, it has gone for review, and after that it will be compiled, it will be placed in a journal, and then it will be published. So in this process, somebody, let's say the reviewer who has received it, somebody from their team, I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm just giving an hypothetical example because such things ever always happen in the domain, takes that article, because then this article has not been published yet. Okay, so he or she takes that article and publish it before it gets published by the original author. So again, that is wrong in this case. So that should not be there. So both the person, the reviewer, and the person who is the author, everybody's confidentiality and the originality, intellectual property should be maintained. Reviewers and authors should not know the names of each other. Only then the peer review is considered valid and correct. Because especially take example of India, where we have caste, color, religion, so many barriers. So not knowing the name, male, female, gender, anything, and then submitting, so a genuine uh, peer review can be done and the genuine recommendations can be provided. Next comes is duplicate and partial publication. It is publishing the same date and the same data and the same result in more than one publication or journal. As I told you, if I had given one paper for publication at somewhere, I cannot give the same paper somewhere else. And if the same paper gets published twice, again there is penalties for the same, or likewise. So it is unethical. The same data cannot be published in multiple places. It is unethical, but may be acceptable in certain cases. But right now, it is not acceptable anywhere. Okay, such as publishing result in a journal to provide research participant with a summary of the result, or partial publication. First was duplicate. The partial publication involves publishing part of your results in different journals. It is specifically unethical for a small focus study, a small research paper that you write like 5 to 7 pages. For that, so it is not possible. However, in a large study with many variables, this is acceptable that you can publish a part of it, and then you can conduct some more research articles and all, and then you can involve certain more different questions, data, and everything, and then you can republish it. Okay. There are some more thing. Right now it's 7. I think we should take a break for 5 minutes, and then we'll get back at 7:05. Okay. So, important measures like how we can make our research more ethical. There are certain 7 to 8 tips that we will be discussing. The first one is informed consent. So the provision of informed consent also includes the knowledge that the informed participation is voluntarily involved in it, and the participants have a right to withdraw at any time of the study if they wish to. Okay, so we are giving them free liberty to be a part of the research, and we are also giving them free liberty to withdraw if they wish to. So when we give such kind of free liberty, people are more likely to be a part of our research. Okay, more happily because they know they are getting freedom, so that makes them more willing to be part of our research. Then protective research design, where it involves the estimate or the probability of whatever is going to happen in my research. What will be the impact of some medicines or the drugs that I'm testing on an individual? What will be the most harmful effects on it? What will be their severity, the duration of this effects, and I will have to give this complete detail to my participant. If they wish, they are okay with it, they are voluntarily okay, because like this, my research is gonna be done, but their life is only one. I cannot take a chance on their life. Okay, so for those things should be checked properly, and then likewise we should go. So it helps for better research design and a protective research design. The third is screening. It is an attempt to select only those individuals who show a high tolerance for potential risks. So many research that have been done, okay, we will first check are they actually okay with it or are able to be a part of it. If a particular for certain medical research activity, we need to check all of this thing and then take a person for our as a participant for our research. So those should be done. And before any research that is to be done, it is always advised to conduct a pilot study. Okay, pilot study helps you to know a certain, idea. Will it be positive, negative, or how harmful it will be? So instead of conducting the research directly on 400, 500 people, rather than conduct research at least on 10 people and see how good it is. So instead of damaging so many lives or giving a harmful effect or impact on anybody's life, first do it on a small scale. If it is okay, then you can go and proceed further. That helps our research to be, more ethical, especially when I talk, the health factor comes into the picture. So when the potential harms are uncertain, okay, when we are not very sure what all could be the possibility of the harms in a study, because we can just predict, we don't know what other things can happen. Okay, so a useful precaution involves a pilot study with a follow-up diagnosed interview to assess the effects and request advice from the participants. Also, testing, talking to the doctors and other known people. Is this possible, or whatever research you're doing? Is it okay or not? Is it how far it is good with the conducting of this research? Then outside proposal review, requesting any research proposal that you make, it is always advised that you request the people in your domain to review a research proposal and give you a helpful precaution or whatever it is there to minimize risk. And trust me, online also, when you go on this website like Academia, ResearchGate, you can contact people, you can send them their your proposals, you can ask them to review. Some of them definitely reply, review, and give it to you, your proposals and everything, which helps us to actually make our research more better because we have already taken reviews of those people. So outside proposal review is very, very important. And then professional codes, like two features of professional codes are important for discussion. Firstly, professional codes have been developed inductively from the wide research experience of all these professional people who have already done it. Secondly, professional codes place strong emphasis on research responsibility of the research, and that should be done. All those codes and ethics that are there to be followed. Next is government regulations. Any government that is there, okay, government regulations such as state and central laws are designed to protect or advance the interest of a society and its individual. Thus, the researchers are required to take precautions for the same, like we discussed. that this is the plagiarism report, this is the percentage beyond which it should not go. So all such things should be taken care if you want to be a part of ethical research. So these are the most important things with regards to your research ethics. Any doubt anyone has so far? Okay, if you don't have doubt, then I'm going to the next part. Okay. Uh, there is this one difference between a thesis and an article. So it will be helpful for you to just know a little bit about it. Uh, As I told you, an article is a very small part. A thesis is a big part because it's a part of your whole PhD. Okay, so a thesis is mostly for an educational committee, and when you know your PhD interviews, vivas are been done, and when the professor decides whether the person is degree worthy of a degree, and that also goes even for your master's level also when you submit your thesis. And when a article is here, a person will look to become a scientist or conduct further research and all. Those things are talked of here about. Uh, okay, and the abstract here in thesis goes up to 500 words, but if I write an article, its abstract will be hardly 150 to 250 words, and because the whole of the research, sorry, article itself is maximum 300. 3000 to maximum 4000 words. Okay, so thesis are more detailed and your article is more concise. Only absolute informations are been given. So thesis are longer. It can go up to 50 pages. An article, as I told you, maximum it goes usually when you write an article. The committee asks you to 4000, but rarely does it ask for 6000. It is better to avoid copying, rewriting, or paraphrasing. Material and method used is extensive presentation in thesis. In article, it's a controlled presentation because it hardly goes 7 to 8 pages when you write in a Word doc. Uh, Thesis are detailed interpretation along with results, and article is clear, concise presentation of result. Theses are exhaustive, articles are selective. Thesis has a mandatory inclusion of appendix. In article, it is not necessary. You give it well good enough. You don't give it, that is also okay. Nobody asks you in detail when you write an article, but it is better that you give it in article also. It gives more professionalism to the same. Okay. Uh, Now we will move to certain questions. These questions are from last 2 to 3 years, and it has questions from today's topic as well as certain extra questions from, let's say, your previous topics or certain topics that uh, are extra that we might have not. I'm not having not covered, but something that UGC always ask something beyond its point, and such extra questions are also being taken here. Okay. So now these are certain questions starting from 2025. Hope everybody is ready for the same. Okay. So the first question is for hypothesis. Criteria for hypothesis construction. It should describe only one issue or it should describe many issues. The another is it should specify variables between which the relationship is to be established. Fourth one is it should be specific and precise. And the fifth one, it should be empirically testable whether it is right or wrong. So which of the following options is the correct option that we'll be selecting? So we discussed yesterday about hypothesis. Okay. How do we frame it? Okay. What are the two things in hypothesis and all? So what will be the possible answer? Okay. Three. Yes, others. See, after studying, the main thing is solving questions. Max to max, the question's answer will be wrong. Nothing more than that. Sorry. Perfect. The answer is three. Perfect. So apart from describing many issue, all of those things are correct with regards to hypothesis construction. Hypothesis does not talk about many issues. It just talk about one issue, and that is also set into two form. Okay, either the null or hypothesis, one showing a relation and another not showing a relationship. So it does not talk about too many things. It just talk about one issue. So the correct answer is three. Then the next question. Here, certain list concepts have been given, and you have to, yes, learning.
Ma'am, I have a doubt in the previous one.
Hmm.
Um, what does the word issue stand for here? Does it mean variables or
No. Issue here stands like whatever, as I yesterday told you, uh, a relationship between the height and a weight. Okay. So that is that issue that we are talking about. So we have a research problem on basis of that we are creating a
okay? An
hypothesis.
argument? Can we say an argument?
Yes, a kind of an argument, an assumption statement that we are creating, and then we will test and prove it.
Right, ma'am.
Variables are
Thank
the
you.
factors which will be impacting while we are doing the things. Okay,
Yes, got it, ma'am. Thank you so much.
most welcome. So these are certain concepts and meanings. Some of them we have done, we have discussed. A couple of them is not mentioned in your books or anywhere, but it is a part of research itself. So while you solve it, you will automatically get the answer. Even if two things you are able to match it correctly, that we have studied, the rest too you will get an answer. Perfect. So, as most of you told the answer four, so let's connect it. The first one is theory that goes with the third option in the meaning that it's a set of a systematic interrelated proportions that explain and predict a phenomena or a fact. Then the B, that is model, that goes with one, that is generalized representation of a system or an object that construct to some aspect of that system or the system as a whole. Then survey goes for a data collection tool that we have discussed yesterday also. Then modeling is basically a research problem presented in a mathematical mode. And as all of you told, the answer is four. Now, the next question, which of the following is not a scientific, not a step in a scientific research? Correct. The correct answer is the first one. Okay. So this is an ending aspect of science, not at all. Okay. The scientific research starts with it. It's not an ending aspect. With the process constantly being not repeated with decreasing refinement, completely wrong as we studied in our characteristics and features of a research, that it is cyclic in nature, and the best example is the action research. So the research goes on, and we say that research should be replicable. If we repeat it, it should give the same result. So completely against the principles of our research. Okay. Then second is, yes, research is casual observation. Yesterday, sorry, day before yesterday when we started, I told you, even there are so many casual observations that we make, all of them are part of it. Okay. And obviously wonder, curiosity about how, when, and why. And hypothesis is the integral part of the research. Okay. Then let's talk about the next question. This is a unique question that I found while looking for questions for you. So, so far, this is the only question I think ever in PYQ. Last year, this is something they have started with. So, it's a pattern of UGC. If it has asked you something for the first time, they will like to create such patterns. So, they have given you books title and their authors. They ask book and authors, but they have never asked so far with regards to research itself. So now they have given you, I know it will be going to be very difficult to match the title of a book and the authors because we do not, it's not our core study. If it would have been about the paper too, we would have been in a better position to do that with respect to our very own papers. But yes, I can just ask, just imagine if that you are in an examination hall, a question comes like this to give a try. So now we will also have to focus on such kind of questions. It's rarest in 2025 June attempt. Out of so many shift, only in one shift this question was asked. Okay, so the correct answer for it is one. Okay, uh, that is Research Methodology, a step-by-step guide for beginners by Ranjit Kumar, and then Mass Media Research and Introduction by Roger and Joseph, uh, Business Research Methods by H.K. Dangi and Shruti, and Research Methods by Ram Ahuja. So at least go, this is the PYQ question, at least go by these four important books. We never know. Repetition is very less, but we should be better safe in a position than being sorry. Okay. Then your next question is, what is exploratory research? See, the answer is within the question itself. Is it describing social situation, event systems, or structures? Or does it study objects about which there is no information available? Or does it explain the causes of a social phenomena, describing it? Or is it based on common sense knowledge? See, definitely common sense knowledge is not an answer. Okay, perfect. Most of you have almost given the correct answer. Yes. The correct answer is two. Okay. It studies subject about which there is no information or limited information available. Now, as the word says, explore, exploratory research. Okay. So now you are exploring something on which there is no information available. If I say explore, I cannot describe. Describing is something on which already data is available. I will be describing those things. Okay. But if I want to explore and find out something new, that means nothing is available. And then only I'm going to explore certain places when we talk about that I'm going to explore this place because you have never been to that place. You will like to explore such places. Okay. But you already know a place, you will describe that place. You will not explore that place in that case. Okay. So even these two things, there is one more question, are part of research, but it was not something to be explained in detail. And because we had PYQ question, it was better to let all of us put our thinking cap on and think about it. So this is another type of research, and the only thing about this research is this that we explore on a knowledge on which there is no information available. Okay, or a very very limited information available. Then going forward, another question: what is explanatory research? Both of these questions are asked in 2025 itself, on different dates and different shifts. Is explanatory research a Yes. Correct. So, as the name says, that it is an explanatory research. So, the option three is the correct answer. So, it explains the causes of the social phenomena, describing the magnitude and the nature of crimes committed by the females in India in one aspect of like female crime. But why do they commit crime is an explanatory aspect where we are explaining why did something happen. We are explaining those things in detail. Okay, we are not describing things comes under descriptive research. Okay, that is also the same thing. In that research we don't do anything in detail, everything is there and we describe it whatever is available. That is called as descriptive research, and this is called as explanatory research, where we explain and where there is no information or limited information available. We call it as exploratory research. Hope these three topics are clear to all of you. uh, Now comes the another question. This is with related to plagiarism. Which of the following are the risk of plagiarism for the researcher who plagiarize? Is it losing the inspiration, losing the obtained titles, destruction of obtained solutions, or destroying the public image? Yesterday we studied about the penalties that are associated with plagiarism. The answer is from that penalties itself. So we studied in the penalties, if a person commits plagiarism to certain level, what are the losses or what kind of repercussion penalties that the person, either a student or a professor, will face. No. Mm. Why some of you think the answer would be two or one? One to will never be an answer, because losing of inspiration is nothing. If the person would have definitely had a lot of inspiration to do, the person would have not done plagiarism. So that's an obvious no to the answer. So any option that is having A is a incorrect answer. Then losing of obtained titles, yes, because as we studied in the plagiarism, yesterday, penalties. So we were talking about the person will be debarred from the system of education. So if a person is doing LLM, let's say, so will be debarred from that particular study, or debarred from being the obtained titles like being a research guide. So debarred for 2 years, 3 years, not being a research guide, not guiding. So losing of obtained titles. Destruction of obtained solution, nothing was been discussed about the same thing, that destruction of an obtained solution will be there. Okay. So solution or whatever it is there, your report is only regularized. So the altogether the paper gets crash. So whatever solution or whatever outcome has been come has no validity out of that. Very important, destroying the public image. So what happens if you do plagiarism? A person is then been debarred from certain things, not giving payment, not giving appreciation. So there is a tarnish of public image with regards to the same person debarring from the system. And the correct answer will be three in this case, that is B and D, losing the obtained titles and destroying the public image. Would you like me to take you back to the page of penalty so that this question will be more better for you to understand? Okay, so this is the penalties that we were talking yesterday. Okay, so if you see here, We are losing the titles. Okay, withdrawing manuscript. The whole manuscript has been withdrawn. In that case, whatever solution you provide in that research is of no use now, because it is not talking about it. It's completely withdrawing titles, annual increment, barred for supervising for next 2 years, and registration cancelled, debarred for submitting revised scripts and all. So those are the kind of losses that a person will face if they uh, is been found guilty of doing plagiarism. Next question we have about sorry, again about the research itself, include on the topic of plagiarism. So a research misconduct includes which of the following thing? Is it data fabrication, plagiarism, data falsification, difference of opinion, or data validation? Which of the following will be correct? Perfect. The correct answer is four. Okay, that is A, B, and C. So right now we did, okay, that data fabrication is a misconduct. That is a problem. Okay, that is something wrong, ethically wrong. Data fabrication, plagiarism, data falsification. Research misconduct does not include difference of opinion. Okay, as I told you, difference of opinion will be there, and you should be happy to accept those opinion, criticism, and include those things, and then revise and be better in that case. And data validation has nothing to do with the research misconduct here. So here misconduct is basically talking about the ethical issues that we were discussing just today itself. Okay. Next question. What is historical research method? This we did on day one. Is it collect facts by understanding the present situation, source of information, including interviews of experts, surveys, etc. Or the second option, it collects facts by predicting the future, sources of information, including questionnaire, telephonic interviews, etc. Or it collects facts by going in the past in different periods, source of information, written records, and newspaper diaries, documentaries, accounts, and documents, etc. Or it collect fact by using common sense. So common sense is directly a wrong answer. Okay. History. So direct answer is going in the past rather than going in present, future, or whatever it is. So the correct answer will be the third one. Now, sorry. Which of the following statements from A to D most appropriately explain research ethics? Please read it carefully and see the combination of answers. Just a second. Okay. So, yeah. So, what all things are talking about research ethics? So, the first year they are talking about research report. Okay. It states how to write a research report flawlessly. That will not be an answer because it's talking about ethics. Okay, research report, it's not talking at all. So ethics is different, and writing a research report altogether, it's a different thing. Then the B option, so anything that has a research report and ethics, it's a different combination. So any option that has A is directly a wrong answer. ठीक है? Because research report कैसा लिखने है, how to write a research report is already taught in the steps of research, and we are talking about ethics. So having option A is straight away a wrong answer. So in that case, second and third goes away. Then the second is it gives methodology of researching within social norms. Again, no, it gives methodology researching under ethical norms, not the social norms. We are talking about research ethics, and then if we are talking about research ethics, that means we are talking about um, ethical behavior. We are not talking about societal. We don't have our society becomes a part of this ethics itself. Okay, so ethics is a greater term under which we are taking society also, researcher, participants, and everybody. So two contradictory things are here. So even option B is wrong in that case. And if option B is wrong, so anything that is having option B is wrong with the help of elimination. That is option two, and then likewise option four also becomes wrong. Then, in that case, the correct answer is directly option one, that is C and D. But still, let us go in detail. So, like as we just now studied, whatever research ethic was, it was telling what you should do and what you should not do in an ethical research. So, it is talking about research ethics, and in an ethical research, what are the do's and don'ts that it has been tell. Then yes, it is correct, and it protects the right and the welfare of research participant. That is what I was discussing. We all were discussing that. What are the rights? They should have a right to participate. They should have a right to take a step back when they need it, and they should also have uh, uh, the right to their privacy. I gave you the example of the surrogate laws and other things. Okay, so we talk about the right welfare about each participant's harmful being any research that is being harmful or not being harmful, all those things. So option one, that is C and D, is the correct answer. Okay. These were certain questions from 2025. Now we will go for another year, that is 2024. We will be seeing certain questions from it. If you can see, research ethics have a good hold of question and hypothesis and types of research in 2025. Now 2024, this question, which of the following research approach such as the theory is an outcome of a research? Very good question. If you have paid attention day before yesterday, your answer is straight away clear. It's a very interesting question. Yes, I would like if all of you give the answers. At least try. It's a very simple answer only if you, yeah, know a basic logic. It is straight away not quantitative and cross-sectional approach. Okay, because here they quantitative and cross-sectionals are the types of research. Inductive and deductives are the type of the approach that we are talking. Okay, so quantitative and qualitatives are research. It's not an approach for doing certain thing. So straight away your answers, like they have written, which of the following approaches So the approach are only two, that is inductive and deductive. There is a manipulation that the it has been purposely done for like confusing while selecting an answer. So approaches are two, that is inductive and deductive. Now we discussed that inductive is particular to general and deductive is general to particular. So deductive already have a generalized principle. We are going and then seeing practicability of it on every particular individual. And inductive is particular to general. So when I'm talking about particular to general, so we have so many cases. We are going through all of those cases. Okay, let's say 10,000, 10, or whatever number of cases. We are seeing a pattern and then we are coming with a general statement. And when we see a pattern, we observe 10, 1,500 cases. We see a pattern, we come with a generalized outcome. That is what research is all about, observing so many cases, so many participants and everything, and then coming with a general outcome. That is what research is. That is called as inductive research. As I told you to remember it simply from P to G, that is particular to general. And the moment it comes general, that is generalized outcome, that is a research. Clear? So the correct answer is 2. Then next question. No. So see, if we want to understand the theoretical reason that led the researcher to conduct a study or a research article in a journal, we will read which of the following sections. The question is. So the question is, in that case, I will not be reading the discussion. I would like to know why discussion is the steps of research. If we see, we do not have any topic or any, I will say, uh, were mentioned in the steps of research, that is discussion. Okay. Neither do we go and read the abstract, because abstract is an overview, a very small overview. What we read is the introduction. Okay. Results is the outcome. Okay. So we, if we want to know that what led the researcher to conduct it, okay, that is introduction. In introduction, the researcher tells why the researcher has conducted this research. Okay, so the correct answer will be 3. The next question. Okay. So the approach in which researcher use the existing data to create groups for comparison here will be two things that will be eliminated is operational and quasi experimental. Okay. In this, the groups are not created. Groups are created in two categories, that is ex post facto and experimental. But in experimental, the group we create to conduct experiment, and then we have data after doing that experiment. But in ex post facto, the data is already there. Like we discussed about criminals, who do criminal activities, and then we find out the reasons behind it. So the group's data is already there for comparison, and then we are using the existing data to create groups and bifurcating them, something that has already happened. So the correct answer will be ex post facto. Next question, a very important question, two times this question has been asked in 2024 itself, in two different days and shift, and with different pattern also. So again, the chart that we studied for plagiarism, in that chart only this answer is available.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, could you once please go back to the previous slide? I'll just take a quick screenshot.
yes, yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
This one,
Yes, ma'am. Done. Thank you so much, ma'am.
please go through this question. It's one of the most important questions. The same table, the answer is in the same table. They have just manipulated it to a very, in such a way that it will confuse you to get an answer. So, like as per the regulation of UGC 2018, the plagiarism registration program will be cancelled. Which of the following similarities? So the answer is yes, correct. That is B and E. Okay. So yeah, very good. All of you who have given the correct answer, that is 4. That is 72 and 78, because as we studied from level 0, 1 to 3, 60 was the last. Post 60, if it is there, then obviously the registration will be cancelled in that case. So the option B and E has percentage above 60, and that is how this has this option D is the correct answer. So likewise, there is C, this question. It is also from the same year, but different, days and shift. Here they have asked in a simple manner. There they have made it more complicated. So again, the same thing. They have given you percentage. So here the answer again will be 4, because it's 61. Above 60 it goes. So that's how the answer is 61. So see the same thing, the same table chart. The questions can be asked in 3 to 4 different types. Two on the ratio of 60 and above, and then certain questions that we saw, where they asked like, what will be the reasons for, like what will be the loss of title or the loss of, your image inspiration. The same thing, all the answers are available in the table itself. Now if you see this question, which of the following research design would allow systematic elimination of extraneous variable other than those you are interested in? So on your day one, again, I have taught you in which particular type of research this variable comes in. I have given you example of coffee and the slip. Uh, And the whole thing, the moment the answer comes variable, okay, the variables is a very important component of experimental research, because it is experimental research which talks about variable, which also talks about manipulation of variables. It also talks about it's the research which has variable, dependent, independent, and then apart from that the extra variable, okay, and what you can do with those variables. So the moment the question comes variable, the answer is experimental. Okay, the correct answer is 4. The next question. I hope now by doing questions you might have got a better understanding how the theories are and how keywords play a very important role, while solving your papers. Please go through this question. Which of the following research design are likely to suffer from the problem of sample attrition? Sample attrition means basically leaving. Okay, so people leaving the being the part of sample. Very good. Answer is 4. Okay. So longitudinal study, as I told you, it's a very long study. It goes for decades, 20, 25 years, 30 years. There is a very high chance that people will like to withdraw. Okay. That is we call as attrition. People will back out. And then the researcher will face problem with regards to the sample attrition. Panel study is a part of longitudinal study. So if you were not aware, so if you're not able to give an answer, then it's okay, but it's a part of longitudinal study itself. Cohort study is a study where a group of people have been observed for again a very long period of time, and because it's an observational kind of study, people will like to withdraw because initially it might be okay, but somebody observing you everything from day to night, it becomes very much feeling like torture. So that is one of the reason that you back out. Cross sectional study will not face the problem of sample attrition because there are different group of people, they are being tested at the same time, and the time is very less, so the study that would have taken ideally 20 years, I'm completing that study within 2 years. So it's very easy to have, and there are different age groups, so that will not face a problem of a sample attrition, but other people will face, other studies will face. So the correct answer is 4. Next, okay, we did this just now. Now this question, the last question for the day. Which of the following types of sampling is likely to have least bias? Perfect. It is simple random sampling that is going to have a least biasness. Perfect, everyone. Reason being, it's a part of proper sampling, quantitative sampling, and others are part of qualitative sampling. Okay. So in qualitative sampling, the snowball convenience and purposive sampling. Okay. Non-probability sampling and simple random is a probability sampling, more systematic. So it will have less biasness compared to other, and the correct answer is 2. So that's all for research methodology from my end. Anyone has any doubt, they are free to ask those doubts. Okay, we can discuss those doubts. Almost everything from my end I tried to cover for your examination, hoping that it will be helpful for your examination. Anything that you wish to ask, please feel free to ask. Okay. You want to know about the grounded theory. So, grounded theory is a theory in which hypotheses play a very less important role. Okay, so there is already data available, and what the researcher do is collect those data. They discuss on those data, and from that data, eventually turns out to be as a kind of a hypothesis, whatever already research has been done. Okay, so it tries to understand all those phenomena that are there by collecting and analyzing the data which are already available, and that, in short, is basically grounded theory. It study a lot of different population in that. Yes, research methodology material. These are the two books like the KVS Madan and Disha Experts, which you can refer. There are many books, to be very honest, in the market, but all of those books have a lot of theory. So, reading theory, uh, end of the day, after reading theory, also you will have to make a key point after analyzing it. So, I think it will be better that if you refer any couple of books and then you know make the key pointers that will help you a lot, because in my own personal experience in my journey of studying and clearing the exam, I have observed the books have written a lot of things, but that does not make sense and that does not help us by reading to clear our papers. It is after the key pointers that we have. So you can refer these two books, that is KVS Madan and Disha. The more better is KVS Madan than Disha Experts for research methodology. It has more detail. Apart from that, the key pointers that were discussed in the PPT, if you would have taken a screenshot, it will be more than better to clear your concepts. Otherwise, there is a book by Aryant also. You can take that also. I personally, in my journey, have also found some books where question answers were wrong also. So some questions that we are very sure now about the answers, but sometimes it happens. So analyzing key pointers is the main thing here. Anyone has any other doubt? So only one suggestion that I would like to give you is that pay attention to the keywords, pay attention to the questions, what it is talking and what answer it is expecting, and please use the elimination way of you know uh, solving the question. That will help you a lot. These three tips and tricks will help you to solve your question. No doubt, your basic concept should be very strong. Not necessary to study everything, but the keywords. Uh, yeah. Dhara ma'am, from my end, I am done. I think they don't have any other doubt for this.